Well, I think that we're already going down that road thanks to the Chancellor. The Chancellor's already started the innovator grants and the awards for the faculty, where the Chancellor's been encouraging faculty actually, create a lot of their own learning materials to help keep the costs down. We realize there's going to be some supplemental things that won't be available in e-version, especially if something's created by staff. We're not necessarily calling for that, in this bill. We're looking for the actual textbooks that come from the publishers. But I just want to commend the Chancellor again, too, for everything that's been done in that area. And some of you may want to go back and look at it again. The Innovator Grants is what it was actually called. And the affordability grants, there were some significant grants that were being made available to educators to develop less expensive learning materials for students to use. Yeah, and we're going to require that there be a regular report that's produced that will actually track this, and then that way everybody will know whether we're buying the most expensive textbooks a lot or not. And that was another thing in my discussion with the publishing industry, is they said, Matt, we'd be willing to bet that if you actually took a look at the books that actually are purchased, that you're going to find that in most cases the professors are actually probably buying pretty much close to the most expensive, textbook that could be used for that class. So they're trying to say, hey, don't look at us. We make these all available. Whether you want the high-end version or the medium-range version, it just comes down to what staff is actually selecting. The bookstore purchase initiative of no less than 50%, just so you understand, that would mean that if the book was sold to you and you used it last semester, that would be the only time that that's applicable. It would actually be the 50% return value that would be required. Now we have that in the bill, and I understand that some may think that that's a little high, but for somebody to simply say, and I think anybody who's ever been a student, I know when I used to return an expensive textbook and they wanted to give me 15 or 20 bucks, and then I'd see them put the new label on it and take it over to the stack and sell it again for 75 bucks. It was quite upsetting. But I guess that's the decision I made. Right?
Would that be the only condition? Is having bought it the semester before? I mean,
yeah, that's
condition of the book. I mean, what if it's mangled or?
That's a good question. I would certainly think that when we get into the putting rules and things like that together, that I don't think anybody's going to buy back a book where the dog ate their homework. So.
We have McGraw-Hill here in Ohio. Have you spoken with them at all?
I've not talked directly with McGraw-Hill, but I have had conversations with the publishing industry. I could get you the names of the folks I talked to about that. Because I wanted to make sure that they had a chance to look at what they saw as concerns that they just thought weren't realistic. And obviously they've seen these in other states. But it's so important to stress that we're not talking about eliminating the printed books. In fact, if you look at a lot of the research, a lot of the students they're actually comfortable with the e-books. However, they feel even more comfortable knowing that they can still fall back on the actual printed book if they wanted to as well too. I know at Case Western Reserve University, I believe they're using kind of the larger version of Kindle, and some of the students had some concerns about being able to put notations because of the keyboard somewhat being small on Kindle, and being able to flag the pages, and most of them were, found the highlighting to be pretty easy to use. But stop and think about it. I was at my niece and nephew's home for Christmas, and I saw their book bags sitting near the wall. I picked up their book bags, and I thought my arms were going to fall off. But it would be nice if we could get to the point where students literally did have, a handheld device, the iPad, or by way of their iPhone, however they want to do it, or through a Kindle type device. That would be ideal and great. But once again, this is just this is an option. This is a choice, and there may be a lot of students. I know myself, when I look at a story on my laptop or in my office, I generally like to print it out. I want to print it out and mark it up and highlight it, flag it, do all kinds of things. So there's still going to be some folks who like to actually have the paper version and be able to use that.
That's preventing
this as well too is the I think that's starting to take us in the right direction. If you
universities wanted to save students money today, could they tell their publisher, look, you have to provide an ebook or else we're not going to buy it?
I guess you know, I'm sure they've already had those conversations, but I think, when it actually becomes law, it's a little bit of a different situation. It certainly has a lot more leverage to it.
Is the 2-year timeline for all parts of the bill?
From the time that it's enacted, the primary provisions for the 2-year will be for the e-book and for the formats for students with disabilities. Those are the primary 2-year provisions. And there's also a part here that we did not talk about where we are going to be asking the chancellor to choose 2 or more colleges or universities to actually put together a pilot rental book program. Some have said that maybe an approach that should be used on our campuses is where you come in pretty much like a video store and you rent a video. In this case, what would happen is you would actually, rent a book, and then once it's over, you return that book, and then somebody else rents that book. And that would be a pilot program that would be orchestrated for 2 years. The chancellor would have the oversight of that. The chancellor has a lot of oversight throughout this when you see the bill. And then if that program seems like it's something that's workable and working, students seem to like it. I know there's some folks that didn't like buying used books because they felt somebody before them highlighted the wrong information or had the wrong notes or had it all marked up in the way they didn't want it marked up. But a rental book program is something that we would like to have Regents take a look at.